We're already on version 2 of the car allowance versus EV salary sacrifice car scheme spreadsheet, which I introduced yesterday. So what I want to do today is just go through those new additions. So welcome back to the channel, folks. JD here again. So yesterday I demonstrated my new spreadsheet, which is going to run alongside the existing PCP spreadsheet, both of which you can now obtain for a one-off payment of £10 per spreadsheet. Just send me an email here if you haven't already done so, if anyone's interested, and that will also include any future updates I ever care to make. So we're on version 6.1 on the PCP spreadsheet, and as I said at the beginning of this video, we're already on version 2, and that's because overnight I had a couple of really good suggestions come in. One of them I wasn't aware of, and one of them literally came in about a couple of hours ago, literally as I was about to put this video out. So the main important one is I've made a second tab on the spreadsheet which takes into account the different Scottish tax thresholds, if you like. So I wasn't aware that Scotland has a different setup for PAYE compared to England, Wales and Northern Ireland. So I won't go through them now, but basically I've introduced those. So if you want to use this and you're a Scottish resident, it will now take into account the slightly different tax rules for income tax, not necessarily national insurance. So we'll go through an example in a minute. I've added a few drop down boxes which you'll see in a minute as well, and the other thing which I've literally just added is on the car allowance side. If you're given a car allowance pot of money, and as I said yesterday, that's normally still subject to tax and NI. So if you're given £300 a month, it's more like £200 odd a month when you've paid your tax and national insurance on it, not necessarily pension. You might be given a mileage allowance if you're using the car for work. So what I've done also on this side, as well as being able to enter any car finance arrangements, road tax, petrol, diesel costs, that kind of thing, I've added a drop down box which enables us to add on a a mileage allowance using HMRC's standard rates. So that's currently 45p per mile up to 10,000 miles per annum, and then 25p per mile after that. So it'll take that into account. So let's just go through another example and then I'll show you the new changes on the Scottish tab as well. So first of all, we just start with our tax code. So as we did yesterday, we'll just go for the standard tax code for 2021, which is 1250L. You can put a pension contribution in if you wish. Let's say that's 5%. And then let's say we earn, I don't know, 38,000 a year. And let's say we get £300 a month car allowance. So that's obviously £3,600 per year. So our total salary for tax and NI purposes is 41,600. Our total salary for pension purposes is going to be 38,000. Okay, so it's not going to calculate 5% of the car allowance part, if you like. So it tells us what our income tax is, our national insurance, our pension, etc. And it tells us here that our net pay is roughly £2,502. However, out of that car allowance, we need to pay for our car. So let's say we've got a car loan of £350 a month. Let's say our insurance is £30 a month. Let's say our road tax is £150, so that's going to be £12.50 a month. Let's say we drive a diesel car and we get 45 mpg, and we're currently paying £120.9 per litre. So that's £5.49 a gallon. We can then enter how many miles a month we do. So let's say we do 1,000 miles a month. So that's going to roughly require 22.22 gallons, and it's going to cost us about £122 a month. However, this is the new change from yesterday. We can now add on a mileage allowance. So if I go yes to that lot, it will automatically tell me what my mileage claim would be based on 1,000 miles a month. This is assuming it's 1,000 business miles, unless you've got an arrangement where your employer pays for your personal mileage as well. So that tells me it's £416 a month. So it's assuming 12,000 miles a year because we've done 1,000 miles here. So what it's doing, it's basically doing 45 pence of 833 miles a month, which is 10,000 miles over 12, and then anything that's left, it's working out 25 pence of that. So that's coming out at 416.67, and let's say we pay £20 a month for some kind of service plan. So that tells me there, look, that our net pay after all of our running costs, but with the inclusion now of the mileage that we've claimed for, we would come out with 2,384.55. If I change that drop down to no, look, it will basically take off the mileage and our net pay would be 1967. So that's kind of what yesterday's spreadsheet was doing, or version 1. So let's change that to yes again. Then what we can do is we can look at our electric vehicle plan. So let's say same salary again, same car allowance, but this time let's salary sacrifice the entire car allowance. Now the nice thing about that is, because we're salary sacrificing it, we can use that entire £300 a month to pay for a car. Whereas in this case, we're obviously taxed on it, so we're not getting the full benefit. So 3,600, and then let's say obviously from 21-22 there's going to be a tiny amount of company car tax on electric vehicles. It's 1% for 21-22 and then 2% after that up to I think 2025. So let's say the P11D value of our vehicle is £35,000. And what I've added now, look, is a little drop down box, so you can choose 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. So it's going to be 1%. If it was 2%, obviously to double the benefit in kind. So let's keep it on 1%. What I should do really is have a 0 on that drop down. I might do that as well, because obviously, even though we're almost at the end of this tax year, 2021 has 0 rate benefit in kind for electric vehicles. So just like yesterday, it then adjusts our tax code. So this £350 comes off our tax code. So our new tax code will be 1215L, which is basically 12,500 less 350. So it gives us 1215L. Works out all of our tax, etc., and tells us our net pay is 2292.66. We then can put in our electricity. So let's say we drive a reasonably efficient electric car. Let's say we get on average 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour or per unit of electricity. And let's say, as I said yesterday, we're on an overnight low rate charging tariff. So say 5 pence a unit. So that's going to cost us, believe it or not, about £14 a month. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But that's right, I think. A penny a mile, just over. 1,000 miles a month, 285 units. Sorry, I had just paused it then to make sure that is right. That is correct. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? £14.29 to do 1,000 miles. It's £1.43, 1.43 pence a mile. So anyway, so that's all worked out, and then at the end it tells us which we were better off with. So in this case, we would still be better off with the diesel car, but that's only because we're now getting a mileage rate as well. If we change this to no, look, we're much better off going down the electric vehicle route, £310. It does change though, depending on how many miles a month you do. For example, if I change that to yes, look, and change this to say 500 miles a month, we're still better off, even though we're going to get £225 mileage, we're still slightly better off in this example going down the electric vehicle salary sacrifice route. Okay, basically it's the same as yesterday, a couple of changes. Let me just show you the Scottish sheet. So we'll do the same thing again. So I've just put an S before the tax code because that's what a Scottish tax code looks like. So I found out today. So same tax code, 1250L. Let's say again 5% pension. Let's choose a different amount this time. £55,000 a year. Car allowance of £5,000 a year. Okay, so this now tells us all of our tax up. We're going to pay £396 or £33 a month in the 19% band, then 176 in the 20% band, then 319 at 21% band, and then £395 in the 41% tax band. So that's why it took me a bit more working out today. Everything else is the same. So you can put all your running costs in. You can choose whether you've got a mileage allowance or not. And then on the electric side, exactly the same thing. So 19, 20, 21%, 41% tax bands. Put the P11D value of the vehicle in. change your benefit in kind rate, adjust your tax code accordingly, how much you want a salary sacrifice, £5,000 a year, etc. Okay, so it's basically, that's good, isn't it? There we go. It's basically the same, apart from the fact that we can now calculate the income tax based on Scottish rules as well as the rest of the UK. As always, I hope that was useful. Please do subscribe if you've not already done so. Please feel free to drop me an email if you'd like to ask me anything else about your current agreements. And as I said, if you want to purchase either a copy of this spreadsheet or if you want to purchase a copy of the PCP settlement voluntary termination calculator, as I said, we're currently on version 6.1. Do just please send me an email to this address and you will get an auto response of how to obtain a copy. In the meantime, you take care and I will see you soon. All the best.